Welcome to my lesson. In this lesson, I will show you how to build a chatbot, AI chatbot like ChatGPT. And we are going to use AI API to connect to the AI chatbot. We will build a clean modern UI with HTML and CSS, then write JavaScript to send the user's message to the AI. But we are not going to put our AI API key inside the browser because that exposes it. So we use a small backend, and I will show you three options. I will show you how to write the backend, a simple backend in PHP, Node.js, or Python. Now let's get started. What do you need to have on your system before we can start building our own ChatGPT? I will call it ChatGPT because it will always respond to you like ChatGPT. So if you are using Windows or Mac, you need a code editor. You must install VS Code, and this is my recommendation. You can use any of your code editor, Sublime or Notepad++, but I recommend VS Code. Number two, you must have a browser in your system, either Chrome or Firefox. Number three, then we need our backend runtime. You can choose one of the three or install all to test all the backend that we mentioned earlier. For PHP user, you are going to download PHP 8+ from php.net. Go to php.net and download PHP 8+. Then for Node.js user, you are going to download Node.js 18+ from the official website nodejs.org. And lastly, for the Python user, you are going to download Python 3.10+. That is going to be downloaded from the official website of Python. Then you need your AI API key, which you can go to platform.deepseek.com/AI-keys, or you can just Google get DeepSeek AI API. Then you create an account. Start creating an account, you request for API key. It is very cheap to use. With few $1 to $2, you can test everything you need to test. Now, let's create the project structure. How are we going to structure our project called ChatGPT? Let's get started. I've created a folder in my file explorer, which I'm going to use to learn our ChatGPT creation. Now this is okay. Well, I don't want to import all folder. So this is our ChatGPT folder. Okay. So in this ChatGPT folder, this is our basic structure, project structure. I'm going to create 3 files now that will represent our HTML, CSS, and our JavaScript files. So those are the 3 most important files we are going to start with to build our ChatGPT AI UI. So let me get started by creating our index.html file. Create our style.css. Create our script.js. So these are the three basic files you need to create your ChatGPT UI. So let's get started by writing our HTML code. So I have my code written, which I'm going to populate here. So don't worry, you can get the project code after the lesson. You can get the project code. My YouTube, I'm going to give you the URL after the lesson. So this is our HTML code to create our ChatGPT UI. So if you are using, as I was saying, so this is our HTML file to create our ChatGPT UI. So let me explain briefly what these HTML tags do. So this is our head part. We are using HTML5. This indicates we are using HTML5. We wrap our code within HTML, putting our default language to the English. So we have our head part, which is going to contain the metadata, and where we are going to import all our CSS. We are going to write this soon. We're going to write it next. So we import Google font file. These are the Google font files that we need to use in our UI. And we'll create our web page title. This is going to appear on our browser tab. So I'm explaining this for anybody that this is just new to. So this is the body of our UI. So which we define everything. As I said, I'm going to put this code on GitHub for anybody that is interested to have access to it after the lesson. So let's try to run this code with our live server. If you are using VS Code, just go to extension and type in live server. This is going to come up, then you install it if you are willing to use live server. So I'm going to right click on index.html and click on open with live server. So this, as you can see, this is our HTML view, which has not been styled. So we just have the HTML structure, the web page structure. It looks ugly for the start. So let's move on, and by creating our other files that are going to be used to style our UI. So this is our style.css file. So I'm going to populate again with our code, styling code. As well, I'm going to leave this code too on GitHub after our lesson. So this is our styling code, our CSS code. So you are going to have access to this style once we are done with this lesson in our GitHub. So these are the CSS code to style our web page. You can go through it and learn one or two things from it. So the scope of this lesson is beyond teaching CSS or HTML, just to build our ChatGPT chatbot. So let's go. If we go back to our index.html file, we try to right click on the file, run again. We may not run again on. So as you can see, this is our web page for our ChatGPT UI. So yet we have our UI, the HTML functioning, the CSS functioning. So what we'll do next is to create our JavaScript code, which is going to handle the backend, sending our request further back to the backend. Let's do that next. As you see, we have our script file, which we are going to populate our JavaScript code into it. So this is our JavaScript code to connect to our backend, which is going to take our message to the AI API. So as you can see, you see my comments. So the front-end logic has already been implemented. So this JavaScript is used to connect to our AI API. So what this JavaScript does is when user click send from the front end, okay, JavaScript shows the user message on screen. Send the message to backend using fetch. Okay, so using fetch, as you can see, then backend send the request to our AI API. Then our AI API responds. Then we display the message to the user. So for what you see here, I split the code into functions. So we have 4 different functions. So the first one formats the message coming from the front end, from the user. It creates it so that we can send it to the AI API. Then once it is sent to the AI, so we show the user what AI is doing before we get response from AI API. So we remove typing after AI has responded so that we can replace it with the response of the AI. So in this case, this is the function that sends the message to the AI, as you can see. So this is simple JavaScript fetch, making request to AI API. So in this case, this is our constant variable, which has been defined here. This is going to be where we change our backend connection based on the option. If it is PHP, you replace the value with backend.php. Those files are going to be created soon. So if it is Node you want to use, you replace it with this URL. If it is Python, you replace it with this URL. Then we did some JavaScript magic. It's not magic. If you know basic of JavaScript, you know this is very straightforward and simple. So that is what we have for now. If you try to run your UI, your ChatGPT UI, try to say something to, can you see? But this is not going to give you the response. Why? Because we have not connected our backend. So we are still having error because we have not implemented the backend that will do the back of the scene magic. So far, we've been able to create our ChatGPT UI, nice looking one, modern looking UI. So I'm going to stop this lesson here. In the next part, we are going to implement our backend, and which we are going to be able to talk to our ChatGPT like your usual ChatGPT chatbot. Thank you. I'll see you in the next part of this lesson.